Meanwhile, Wednesday, huge game at St James's. And because it's the last time I've got you all together, I wanted to get your predictions for this tie. Stevie and Frank are going for a Newcastle win. Shaka's going for a draw. Mario is going for a PSG victory. Oh, where do we start? I want to start. Let's start with you, Frank. PSG, you've seen them play more than anybody else. Is that an indictment on them? You think they're going to go to Newcastle and lose?
Well, according to what I saw this weekend against Clermont-Ferrand and the draw that they had and the beginning of the season that they made, I don't see... I mean, sometimes the game is better. I mean, the unity of the team is better, but I don't find any enthusiasm with that team. And you're going to play at St James's Park, and Shaka can talk more about it than anybody else. The pressure, the atmosphere you're going to find for the first game of the Champions League from Newcastle is going to be hell for Paris Saint-Germain. And I don't see leaders everywhere on the field to cope with that situation. Maybe I would be wrong. Maybe they're going to be grown-ups and they're going to deal with that. But according to what I see, there is no other choices to put into prediction a loss from Paris Saint-Germain. Individually, they're better than Newcastle, but we all know that they're going to be 12 men on the field, and I'm not sure Paris Saint-Germain players can deal with that.
You think they can deal with it, Shaq, and get a 1-1 draw?
I think, listen, I thought PSG looked good against an underperforming Borussia Dortmund in the last round. And my question about Newcastle coming to this one is kind of the other side of the coin that Frank was talking about. That pressure of St James's Park with a team that has not played. And as I'm trying to think through Newcastle's entire roster, I don't think there's too much Champions League.
Trippier, obviously, with Atleti.
But there's not an awful lot of experience in the Champions League in that roster. So the pressure, this new platform, I guess we can call it, I just feel that Newcastle don't hit full gear. I think that comes. I still think Newcastle gets out of the group, but I think a 1-1 draw is about right for this one.
Stevie, pressure smasher for Newcastle. You got them winning it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Listen, PSG are fourth in Ligue 1 for a reason.
But do they not care about the games against Clermont? And they really up their game ready for the Champions League?
If that's the truth, then that tells you why they can't go to Newcastle and play in front of that crowd and win. Because if they don't care when they're playing in France, do you think they can just all of a sudden turn up in Newcastle and start playing? Football does not work that way. It just doesn't. I don't trust PSG. I just don't trust them. I just think that Newcastle at home will be too much for PSG. You don't just turn up and decide to play.
Mario, you're a very trusting soul. You're the only one that's backing PSG.
Yeah, because I feel like it's going to be a first moment. When I have, Mbappe, Trippier, that is for me an interesting contest. And then you got because I like Trippier as a defender. I think he has that, but it's another level, playing in Mbappe. Then I'm going to have, let's say you have Bern and playing Dembele. Guys, look, the Champions League is a league of its own. I understand that. But when you play during the week and you play for your team against the competition level, but when you hear the Champions League song, no one can tell me that sits there, it doesn't affect you. When you hear that momentum, that song that tunes you, it gets you going. I don't know if it's going to be maybe too much for the Newcastle players, not the fans. I'm talking the players. At that moment, to have a team that size coming to you, regardless if they're not performing as a team really well, but having those opponents against you, Hakimi, Gordon is in a good form now, but I want to see him against Hakimi. But I also want to see a guy like Bern and Dembele. Guys, come on now. This is football. And I believe that PSG has still a little bit too much for Newcastle.
Oh, Mario sounded like a commercial then. A bit like your Trinidad and Tobago commercial.
Yes, man, I'm selling it. I'm selling it.
This is football. That, of course, the big game on Wednesday. Meanwhile, before that on Tuesday, Napoli against Real Madrid certainly catches the eye. Mario loving the away teams. He thinks Real Madrid are going to beat Napoli by 2-1. Elsewhere, it's draws galore for everybody else.